Hey, everybody, welcome to Too Much Information, TMI Live with Moondog. And in today's episode, we've got a special guest, which I'll be bringing in a little bit early. But before we get started, I just want to give a little plug to this episode's sponsors. And this, we have some new sponsor as well. So let me just bring onto the stage a QR code for you. This is our been a long-standing sponsor, Aura.com, which is an online cybersecurity company service that I use. They help protect me when I'm online, especially when I'm on public Wi-Fi. They offer a suite of services, including VPN, credit monitoring, spam blockers. Also, one of the key benefits or services they offer is a data broker removal service, which I think is just awesome because all of our information is being bought and sold and traded by these companies called data brokers, which includes our names, our physical addresses, our email addresses, even phone numbers are being bought and sold to marketeers, to political organizations, what have you, by these companies called data brokers. And you can have your information expunged from them if you formally request that. But it can get a bit tedious because there are hundreds of them out there. And you can automatically have your information removed from these data brokers if you use Aura. And there's some other companies out there that offer this, but Aura bundles all these services together in one low monthly fee. And if you use my link, aura.com/moondog, you can see a QR code there. You can try them out for free for 14 days, which includes a data broker removal service, by the way. So you could get yourself removed from dozens of these data brokers while you're just using my free trial with them. And plus all of that, all this bundled together, you also get $1 million in identity theft insurance, which a lot of these companies that offer these services individually don't offer you. So yeah, take advantage of that. Use my link, aura.com/moondog. And we have, as a new sponsor, we have Venice AI. And if you use AI, and more and more of us do, for writing, for research, or what have you, one of the things that all these AI companies, ChatGPT, Copilot, everybody, all those other AI services, what you don't realize is that they have in their terms of service that they keep track of all of the queries, all of the things that you type into, the requests that you put to the AI. They keep track of that. They remember that forever. And that includes all of the responses, all of the images that you've asked it to generate for you. It remembers what you asked it, what it served to you. And I'm not saying anything, but if any of that could be potentially used to embarrass you in the future, well, I don't like the fact that these AI companies keep a track of that. Venice AI is the only one that doesn't. It keeps track of that information locally on your own browser, that just like in your history, you can delete. Now, you can't delete that using ChatGPT or anything else because that's on their servers. Venice AI is the only private and secure and uncensored AI that you have control over. So that's the reason why I use it. You can use my code there, venice.ai/moondog, to try them out. Or you could also get 20% off of the professional service. That means the sort of unlimited service using my coupon code Moondog. So get 20% off using Venice AI. And they're great in their image generation service, which I'm starting to use to create thumbnails and other graphics for my presentations. They offer you a couple of different image generation models, so you're not even limited to their own. They've got 4 different. So if you don't like the style or the way one of their image generators presents stuff, you could try. You have a couple of other options. All right, so let's get started. We are going to be giving away all month long. We're going to be giving away ZKT wipes, which are these cool single-use pack gun cleaning wipes from ZKT, and I've tested them. I've posted up a video review of that. You can find that on my channel, and you can find all the links to this. I'm going to post up a link actually to everybody who's on the side chat for this episode's show notes. And there he goes on the side chat. So 3 lucky winners are going to get a pack of these ZKT wipes to use. And to get into the contest, all you have to do is post in the side chat the company that you see here. This is the early bird clue for everybody who tuned in or tuning in. Sorry for the folks who are listening to this podcast style in their car, but if you can see this, this is your visual clue. This is the logo of the company. Just type in hashtag and the name of the company. It doesn't have to be capitalized at all, and you'll be automatically entered into the contest. So yes, we have our first entry so far into the contest. Just checking on that. All right. Now, I like to bring into this episode my special guest, and this is Alex. Hey, Alex, how are you? How are you, Sasha?
Hello. Hi, Tom. How you doing? How's everybody?
Very good. So, Alex is a old friend of mine from our airsoft days. His call sign is Russian, very apropos, considering his background. And Sasha is a really interesting cat. He grew up in the Soviet Union. For all of us who are old enough to remember the good old days or the bad old days of the Cold War, there was a country called the Soviet Union, which was an amalgam of, I think, was it 15 or 16 countries now?
15 different republics.
50 different republics, one of which is Russia, of course, Ukraine, Moldova. I can't even name all of them, but yes, you'll find on if you go to your Atlas or Google Maps now, there are 16 countries over there that used to be the USSR. And I brought in Alex to tell us a little bit about his background, but we'll get into that in a second. I wanted to ask Sasha is you prefer Sasha as your nickname, and for those of you who don't know, Alex, Alexander, Xander, I don't know how the nicknames get started, but that is Sasha is a common nickname for Alexander, Alexandra in yeah. So funny enough, I don't know if you caught the episode last week where I had Dark Lord of Optics, who's an optical physicist. He shares a similar background to you, that he grew up in the Soviet Union as well, though he's a little bit younger than us. He emigrated when he was in high school, so he actually went to high school here in the U.S. So I thought that was interesting that we have back-to-back Russians on the show for 2 weeks in a row.
Slight different generation, I guess, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're joining us actually from this coast. You're here visiting California. This month.
Fortunate to visit California. Unfortunate, the reason why I overstayed my initial plans, but life sometimes make a correction to our plans.
Absolutely, yes. All right, so let me. I want to ask to have you join some of the commentary on some of the videos that I posted last week. So if you wouldn't mind, let me share them with you. All right, so let me bring up the visual here. There we go. That's the layout that I wanted to show you. So I wanted to share some of the videos I posted on my Moondog 2A channel. I don't know if you had a chance to see one of these, but Holosun Optics, I don't know if you have one of their products or ever used any of theirs. They have put out, it's already out. They have a pistol thermal optic, which is just wild. It's a two-part optic. So the lower part, where you usually have a weapon light, that's actually the camera, and it connects via, I'm assuming, Bluetooth or maybe it's Wi-Fi. I actually don't know how it's connecting wirelessly, but the unit where you usually would have your red dot optic is just the display screen for the thermal. But it's a pretty compact. I mean, it's small enough and light enough that you could use it on a pistol. And I just want to share a little bit of what that looks like here, of that video that I posted.
The DPS, digital pistol sight thermal, or just the Holosun thermal pistol sights, you're going to see online a lot. So this is the thermal sensor here, and then this wirelessly transmits the data to this guy, which kind of looks like a 509, a larger version of the 509. Has a flip cap, so uses a regular red dot, but it transmits a thermal overlay and gives you a thermal pistol optic. I'm sure Tom and his crew is going to go out and show you guys a look through of this out on the show floor, so you get an idea of what it looks like going through this. Very stable connection, great looking image. We had this on our range day Monday night and Tuesday night, thousands of rounds, and this thing was doing absolutely fantastic, and people loved it. So that's kind of our lineup here from SHOT Show 2025. Obviously, keep watching Moondog Industries so you guys can see all the coverage and everything else. And then hopefully you guys enjoy the new products here from Holosun from 2025.
Excellent. So I don't know if you've had a chance to see anything like that. It's pretty wild, huh?
Yeah, so there are a few reviews from a SHOT Show this year, and it's, technology always going to push it forward, and they're always going to introduce something new. At this point, before you make any comments, you need to answer one question.
Yeah.
What do you need the thing for? If you're going somewhere in a hot zone with real environment and real war, you might reconsider it. If you range bunny and you want to enjoy something new, absolutely. If you think in your homestead, your life depends on, it's a question for you to decide.
Oh, that's a good point.
All for innovation. But innovation usually need to be proven by real life experiences. And nothing wrong with experimenting. It's just what the level of experimentation you go into. And I love to see the things. I'm sure in the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to have even AI aiming for you. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. It's just all point of how much you want to depend on. And plus, another thing, fundamentals. You guys cannot avoid fundamentals. If you cannot shoot your pistol without all this iron, all the optics and stuff, you're not going to be that good. Anyway. It's going to help you, right? From 0, you're going to go to 20%, but it's still 80% to master. So your finger, that's the biggest thing ever.
And this is not cheap. That thing is not cheap. So yeah.
Nothing new is cheap, which is you can understand. And then you're paying for innovation, and then you're paying for quality. Holosun has a history to introducing new stuff very, very early on, which is very admirable. And also they have a reputation of certain items being hit and miss. So if that's a very new in the first gen, I personally don't like to buy anything first gen.
Neither do I. I agree with you there. Yeah.
Right. So anything second gen and up, it's better in my mind at least. But again, if you think you're going to become Jerry Michalik because of this thing, I will disappoint you. No, you're not. But some people really believe in this stuff. So this is the biggest thing for newer shooters. They think that the fresh stuff, the new camo going to make you invisible, and the new, electronic device going to make you absolutely master of the target. No. But again, it's great. I love to see it. Please, Holosun, bring more.
Cool.
And give all to Tom to try.
Yes, please. That would be great if they heard you.
Trust your reviewers. You have to trust the reviewers. That's why not every reviewer on the internet are truthful, or even people with experience not always truthful, because set up behind backgrounds. On the backgrounds, the relationship with the people who give you stuff to try, it's important because you still want to maintain relationship, but you also want to maintain integrity of your reviews.
Yeah. And it's important for the viewers to try to watch as many reviewers as possible, because even if you have, I always try to be as authentic and as real as possible with my reviews. But in the end, I have a sample of one, so exactly. Mine could be perfectly fine, and that's the way it really normal. On average, it is. But somebody else's experience could be wildly different, and it's in that aggregate that you get a truer picture.
Absolutely. But innovation, it's very important. Go ahead, people, do that.
All right. So let me get on to the next video that I posted. And that is of these things. And I'd love to get your thoughts on them. These are adjustable height scope rings. And this is let's give you a sample of the video that I posted.
These are Discovery Optics precision height adjustable scope rings. And what makes these unusual and unique is that these are designed to adjust in overall height relative to the top of your receiver or rail. You have to unscrew these two screws and then slide it off crosswise, because there's actually teeth, like gear teeth, in here, and then you can align them to the height that you need them. Here's your indication. So you have your different heights. You have a 1/4 inch, or 1.4 inch, 1.32 inches, 1.24 inches, as well as 1.36, 1.28, and 1.2. So you can adjust the height as you need to, slide it back in, and now that is your new height.
So interesting. I got to ask you, who do you think that would this be useful to someone?
Yeah, I saw this video before you posted, and let's present the answer that nobody asked. So my thought behind it, I have a little experience with optics, and I want to tell you that absolute majority of the people would buy rings for the scope for the rifle, and if you have no idea what the scope rings height should be, this already coming back to fundamentals. You should be not buying something that you don't know what you're doing, and this rings, it's presumably for different scope for different rifles. So then you're removing rings in the scope to reinstall to other rifles. So you're removing 0 and attaching rings to the rifle, already a little bit of science, and you need to understand how to. So if you do it at once, and that's not QD rings, not quick detached rings, so it's not really need for that. You're still going to buy another ring set for another scope for another rifle. So that's present the answer that nobody asked for me. So I don't see the need for that. If somebody playing with airsoft, yeah, absolutely. Why not? Yeah, absolutely. You can remove and put it in because precision is not your thing. It's airsoft. That's a reason why. You can do it in the field. You can do it at home. No problem. But any other firearms, I don't see why you need this.
Now, Pick wrote in the side chat, they could be good as a measuring device, so you could find out what's the optimum ring for your setup. And I think that's actually a good reason to use them.
The question is, how much of this? Is it more expensive than the ruler?
Well, it's actually, depending on the. Do you think yeah, I suppose it can be a little bit tricky to get the ruler and find the space, but I suppose if you have an extra $15 you could buy. I actually don't know how much these rings are. Let me just look that up.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
if that's something around $15-20, maybe yes, as a measuring device. If it's something above 50, I would not invest in this thing.
Let me see here. They are okay. Yeah, they're about $44. So, I mean, yeah, I think they're pricey as just strictly as a measuring device. But the guys who are buying scopes and stuff, the kind of money that they're paying, this maybe not that too expensive compared to knowing exactly. I mean, if you're going to be spending $200 for scope rings, some of these guys who are really in precision shooting, yeah,
we all need to be on the same page. Your optics should be cost at least the amount of your rifle or more, because your optic would do better on mediocre rifle than mediocre optic on a good rifle. That's optics prevail all the time, and because of that, you're also not going to chip out on your rings. So if you're buying these cheap rings and you don't know what the material or what it was made with, you just negate your expensive optics. So, but again, if people can afford, nothing you can say. People need to save money and count their own money. That's fine by me.
Yeah,
I would not do those things.
Fair enough. Now, I actually contacted Discovery about, and there was another suggestion somebody had last week when I posted this up, the video. And one of the things that came up with Discovery Optics is that they stopped offering free rings with their scopes, and to try to accommodate for the fact of everybody's different setup, they always included the tallest rings that they have, just so that because at least you could use a taller ring where you can't use a shorter ring if it's too low and it hits your barrel. But people were complaining about the tall rings free rings that they got because they were too tall for them. And so that they would send back the rings, and they would get too many complaints, so they stopped including rings. So somebody suggested on last week's live stream that hey, maybe they could include these rings with their higher end scopes instead of the tall rings. So at least you could use them to find out which is a better height ring for your particular setup.
Absolutely. But if they cost them $40 on a retail, I'm not sure if they're going to do it or not. It sounds a little bit more expensive. And you can see it's some additional work goes into rings, to this measuring devices and leaps, this little teeth and something. So it's not very cheap ring, regardless of the material they made. I understand the point. But yes, you're right. If that would come as a set of measuring rings, yes, absolutely. That's a way to go then.
Yeah.
And free stuff is free stuff, but I know the tall rings is not optimal for anyone.
True. Very true. All right. So on my Moondog Reviews channel, I posted up the announcement of the contest, which is going on right now. And that is for the Miles C Ion Jet laser rangefinder. And let me just share the video short on that. So this is an Ion Jet 2. It is a handheld, high-performance laser rangefinder with a maximum range of 2,000 yards, which is over a mile, and I was able to test and confirm that. Well, I'm giving you the opportunity to win an Ion Jet 2. This is a $300 laser rangefinder, and I'm giving you the opportunity to win one free. To qualify, all you have to do is be a subscriber to my travel channel, Moondog Go, and send me proof that you have. Take a screenshot of that subscribe button and upload it to my website. You can find details at moondogindustries.com/contest, and you can find a direct link to the upload page in this video's description. I'll be drawing the winner on my weekly Wednesday live streams, TMI Live. That's Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And your chances are good to win this laser rangefinder. Good luck. God bless. Moondog out. So I just posted up the link to that for those of you who haven't entered the contest, so you can enter it directly using that link. Do you own a laser rangefinder, Sasha?
First of all, I want to comment you on this video because I saw it before when you posted. I loved it. The directorial and cinematics are amazing.
Thank you.
You're really one of your best videos that visually I did enjoy a lot. So I saw this video before, and absolutely. About rangefinder, no, I don't own one for two reasons. Number one, I don't have a long range to use. I have only one which couple hours away from me. Number two, the one that I want is pretty expensive, and one that I can afford, maybe I don't want it. And saying this, I saw you did the measurement to the heel. With rangefinders, here's the thought behind it. It's very useful tool to the very limited applications.
Okay.
Most of us would have almost no need unless you in this particular segment of shooting that you need a rangefinder. As a military background right now, laser sensors become pretty prevalent on the battlefield. So as soon as you're going to deploy one, half of the people are going to see where it comes from. It's number one. Number two, it's only few instances as a shooter you can really use rangefinder to estimate ranges. Unless you like in an open environment like, I don't know, Afghanistan mountains or Iraqi desert, it's pretty limited ability to use it. Most of the scopes, at least military grade, going to give you some kind of range finding ability that you can at least estimate more or less. So this becomes secondary to shooter. If you hunter, yeah, absolutely 100%. In a certain environment, not like East Coast. East Coast, your hunting ranges are still 150 yards.
Yeah.
And I don't think you need anybody. I would love to have one, really advanced one. But again, I cannot justify this kind of prices. But for any even fun use, it's absolutely a pleasure to use it. It's fun. If it works, it works. Biggest problem for the rangefinder is a contrast. So it has to be contrast surface to be detected. Anything remotely camouflaged or blending in, civilian rangefinders probably not going to detect, or they're going to detect just a too broad a spectrum that you cannot get exact measure. Should you have one? If you can afford, yes. You're going to use it in real world unless it's like specific hunting. Maybe not. Probably, mostly not. Again, I'm talking about East Coast experience.
Mm-hmm.
Coast and Midwest is very, very different. But is a very useful tool for shooters who understand. Before you go to rangefinder, master your 100 yards. Start with 100 yards, master your 100 yards. When you can do groupings that's very close to your rifle ability to shoot, then you proceed further, because it's a lot involved in a long distance shooting. But rangefinder, absolutely useful things to have. And if this is work as you showed in your video, because
Yeah.
I video, it's absolutely good thing. Totally.
And to be honest, the few times I've used a rangefinder, then actually using it, then testing it well in the reviews, are when I am setting up my other reviews just to confirm that I'm at the right distance to my reference targets. But otherwise, yeah, I haven't used the rangefinders that I have very much, to be fair.
But it's actually interesting. You train your eye by walking in the city and try to guesstimate what the distance between you and 20 buildings away is, 2-3 blocks away, and then confirm the rangefinder is going to train your eyes.
Yeah.
But also you have to understand size of the object and subject of your view. You need to know measurements, how tall average car is, how tall average human is, how tall is average first floor building is. So those cues going to give you a lot of helpful information, even to get approximately in the range. But all those things you can go in manuals. You can find in manuals. They're free to everyone. You can Google it and get. And the rangefinder going to confirm your eyesight. Are you right or you're wrong? That's going to help you. Just walking around the city and play with it a little bit. Just don't lace any kind of important buildings.
Now, so you and everybody else is welcome to enter the contest. And to Pick's comment, yes, you can enter twice if you've forgotten, but don't worry. I will look for everybody else. When I download the list of names, I always check to see if there's a name twice. Is it because they, unless there's a mitigating circumstance, I only register them for the contest for the wheel once. So even you could try to enter 10 times, but I'll only give you one entry. So yeah, if you think you forgot you entered, please enter again, especially in the months where I have more than one prize or one contest going on at the same time. Like the previous month where I was giving away Pro Here headsets as well as an LPVO, which we're actually going to be giving away today. All right, let's move on. Now, I know you're in California. Have you had a chance to bring your family down to Disneyland yet?
Not yet. My kid is too little, but yeah, soon enough.
Yeah, and this is the video because I stopped by Costco and saw that they still have it right now, the kiosk for this deal that they're promoting. And $450 to get into Disneyland. That's supposed to be a deal? Is it just me, or is that a crazy amount of money to pay for one person to get into Disneyland? I don't know. Leave me a comment, because at that price, I don't feel like it's the happiest place on earth. All right, so that gives you an idea of how expensive it is to get to Disneyland. I mean, that is granted, it's 3 days, but that's just one person.
It's insane. And it's funny that you show me this, because I just saw that, AI give me all these videos from other providers, creators, and they keep showing empty Disneyland. And they keep saying that how fewer people in the Disneyland right now. Maybe that's a reason.
Absolutely. I think it's
Insane.
It's insane. I grew up in Southern California, so I remember even in 2000, it was like $35, $39 to get in for one day. And if you adjusted that for inflation, I did the calculator for how much it would cost today. That's only like $60, but it's $160 today to get into Disneyland. Is how much they're charging. So yeah, they've totally overblown the prices to get into there.
Maybe it's one of the signs of some kind of recession. You know, people don't spend the money on this, frivolous stuff anymore.
Yeah, and part of that is intentional. And I'd seen this at news reports of from the annual meeting for shareholders that a few years ago, just before the scamdemic, that people were complaining about the crowds inside of Disneyland. So one of the strategies that they talked about at the shareholders meeting was, we need to increase prices so that less people come. So this may be part of that strategy, but it's still kind of ridiculous, and it makes me not want to go.
It's very, very possible because the Disneyland is an old structure, and it's much smaller than Disney World in Florida. So even there, it's get very, very crowded. But here, I would imagine, they're not expecting so many people. So that's one of the ways. Unfortunately.
And it's not that much cheaper. We just went to Universal Studios last weekend, and I'm posting up videos this week from that trip, and they had recently opened, and it's been 2 years now since they opened Super Mario World. But this is actually our first visit to Super Mario World. And Universal is actually a smaller park overall. They have far less rides than Disneyland, but they're cheaper to get in, but not that much cheaper than Disneyland.
That's where a good segue to say, when I grew up in a different time, in a different country, your childhood were affected much less, but private companies, it was affected none, but by the government. And the government was very keen to provide for children and retirees the lifestyle that government thought it's at least minimally acceptable. So when I grew up, to going to the parks and the camps, that was all government subsidized or factory subsidized, or so they were subsidized by somebody. So you would pay nominal price.
Mm-hmm.
Attraction parks for us, as much as I remember, we were usually paying per attraction. So you're not paying entrance fee, you're paying per each attractions. And it was all around cents, like a few cents this ride, few cents that ride. So even for us, we'd never question it was too expensive to go to do stuff. Obviously, as a kid, you have limited resources and money, but it was never like, oh, we cannot afford park ride. So that's, at least I don't remember.
Now, this is actually you said it. Perfect segue. Let me introduce you again to folks who've just joined us. So our special guest today is Alex Sosnovski, otherwise known as Sasha, or AKA Russian to you old school airsofters out there. And Sasha was born in the USSR. So for those of us who are old enough to remember what the USSR, those initials stand for, the Soviet Union, Sasha also served briefly in the Soviet Army, which is I always found interesting. He studied law, and he lives and works in New York City. And so, Sasha, here's a good question as a segue to what we're talking about. In the Soviet Union, what was the equivalent to Disneyland?
Okay, so before we would start, I want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm going to say, it's a very subjective to me personally. Whatever I say, it's a memory of my childhood that I consider to be very happy. It's not advertising for any political affiliation. It's not advertisement for social inclination of capitalism versus socialism. So you guys have to understand that I had a good childhood. I was not a labor on a uranium factory or taking sneakers or something. I had a very, very happy childhood. So my memory is even though in my time in my country a lot of things was politicized, was still happy childhood memory. And if I'm going to reference to some political affiliations, it's not advertisement for any political affiliations.
Yeah, this episode is not sponsored by the Communist Party.
No, of any kind of country. No, not socialist, not communist, nothing of this. It's just me sharing my experience. I'm pretty much sure a lot of kids had a similar experience, and I'm pretty much sure a lot of kids has very different experience. So I'm just sharing with you my personal experience, right? So talking about attraction parks, we had basically two types of attraction parks. Each city had their own several attraction parks.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly in the districts, and also we had a summer traveling attraction parks. Some of them were coming from overseas, from other socialist republics.
Oh, like which ones?
Like East Germany and Yugoslavia. We had very famous traveling. You can call it traveling circus, but it was a traveling attraction park. Would come every summer from East Germany, and they had winning prizes from East Germany, which was very, very unique for us. And of course, it was very interesting to go there and to communicate with people who barely spoke Russian, obviously. And we did not have a lot of exposure to foreigners, but that was one of them. We had several parks that located in several different sides of the city, and one closer to me was approximately maybe half an hour riding bicycle, or you can take public transportation. It was in the park.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The park was open year round, but attractions were open in the warm months of the year, which is probably around 7 months a year, around that time. And I grew up in late 70s, early 80s, so all of this can correlate to you guys. We were allowed as older kids drive bicycles around, but obviously, transportation on the streets, you have to be careful, and your parents usually should know where you're going to, and they didn't allow us to go that far. But to go to attractions, we absolutely did. And it's a lot of smaller size Ferris wheels, swing sets, different carousels for smaller kids and adults too, and of course safeties all around late 70s. You can imagine you're lucky if you have a chain locking your seat, probably just a bar over your lap, if so.
Yeah,
but,
if you lose an arm, that's your fault.
But somehow we all survived. Somehow.
Yeah.
It was no mass death at the attraction parks.
Now, take a step back here. Where was this in Russia?
I grew up in right now it's a separate country, with a republic called Belarus.
So it's Belarus, yes.
Right, one of the most eastern republics that border with Poland. And Lithuania, Latvia, the others on the northern side, and on the east is Russia. So it's an administrative city called Vitebsk, which is population close to 250,000 plus in time of 1970s, 80s. It's a district city, so it's like 5 districts in Belarus used to be. So this is one of the district cities. We had I want to say 4 parks, as I remember, with a different size of the parks. One of them larger than others, and most of them were acceptable, for the kids and adults during the warm times of the year. So in the winter, it's usually people would just ski around there, going in the slopes or skis, field skis like this. But we were not really attracted to this paid attraction as much, because more fun for us to ride bicycles and do our own things. So in the winter, you ski and you go in slopes and you have a sled, so skis, and you do this stuff. But as a family attraction, yeah, absolutely, we went to. And I mentioned the German, East German and Yugoslavian attraction that would come to during the summer. And that was set up around city's ice field. So in the summer, it would be just a field.
Oh, okay.
And the ice skate field would be on a winter. So over there, they would set up this. One of the most memorable were, this metal ball where a motorcycle rides inside.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like attraction. You don't participate, but you see the show. It was amazing. Everything was made out of wood and metal. Makes so much noise. The cycle has no mufflers. Make a lot of noise. As a kid, it was like absolutely wow factor. And they was riding in a circle in different directions. It was amazing, that thing. And they had one of the swings that would go like a super fast. I would never seen such a fast swing. And when it go center force, the chain attached those seats would go almost parallel to the ground, and you're flying around. And then when you see people throw up because they didn't expect it, it was biggest attraction for us to see somebody throw up, because that's what kids like, unusual stuff. But
now in the wintertime, you're saying that this is a skating field. So in the field, they would spray it down to get a skating surface? Is that how that would work?
Yes, you can rent skis or ice skis, and you can exercise. They would have teaching classes for very little kids, and the most of the times people would just circle. It's a big, like a hockey field, elongated circle, and people would go around, and they had a certain days for speed skaters, and most of the time recreational skaters. So that's what they do for the summer, for the winter. And of course, hockey was also big when I grew up. So I would play a lot of hockeys on the streets, on the frozen asphalt.
So you were that was the sport that you were into, is hockey in the winter?
Let's put it this way: Soviet Union was huge into sports. So it all came out from 1920s, when after revolution, government realized how poorly educated and poorly health-wise was the population before revolution. To improve this, sport was introduced on a government level to everything. So every apartment building would have a little tiny small field for exercise and a kids' playground to play. So on the backyards of the buildings, that's what the thing would be built. And it basically started from 1920s, but became very popular after World War II, because a lot of cities need to be rebuilt, and they already was planned and rebuilt with exercise equipment all around. It's a different story how it was maintained and sustained, but we all had a little backyards exercising in playgrounds when we grew up. I'm talking about cities, not villages, but mostly cities.
Mm-hmm.
Sport were absolutely incorporated in the schools and extracurricular activities, and on the factories and universities, everywhere. Sport was almost mandatory. A lot of sport, what we call sections, which is sport clubs, was introduced for very, very low price for kids. So you can join not only your local organizations, but a citywide organization, and for very nominal price per month, you can go and participate in particular sport. I attended wrestling section. My school was into sports by dedication. We have three classes in each grade, and the third class was for the sport class. So they primarily study was a regular school study and a sport on a semi-professional level. But
so what was you got to choose which sports you wanted to get into?
If you enlist yourself, yes. In the school, it was general.
Now, what is your preferred sports? I mean, here now it has changed since I was a kid. Soccer was not nearly as big with school age or elementary school age kids in the U.S. as it was when I was growing up. It was strictly Little League baseball, to some degree football, but mostly it was baseball. But nowadays, almost every elementary school kid in the U.S. learns to play soccer more than anything else. How was it? What was it like in the Soviet Union? What was the preferred sports that kids played in the apartments?
So for kids play, it was absolutely soccer and the hockey in the winter. That's absolutely dominant. Most of the compounds has a little soccer field, or even self-made soccer fields. In late 70s, ping pong became very popular. So excuse me, they start to install ping pong tables in the courtyards.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm wonder probably an outgrowth of the Olympics. I know there's a bit of interest in it after, I think, I don't know if it was the Beijing Olympics or the popularity of ping pong here, but it wasn't as big as at least that wasn't as big unless your friends had a table tennis table. It's not like there were table tennis courts or things set up at parks in the U.S. where I was growing up.
We have table tennis installed in the courtyards, and with the years they become more and more deteriorated.
Oh yeah,
but it was popular, and we played a lot. My parents sent me to a wrestling academy, Greco-Roman wrestling. I've done for quite a few years. When I grew up, I kind of got interested into shooting, so I went to Bullseye Club, and
that's primarily pistol or rifle.
I specialized in the rifle, both. It's basically club had both, but you kind of choose. They're gonna evaluate you with time and decide what you're better with. I was a little bit better with the rifle because pistol is a little bit more complicated for more seasoned shooters. Plus, I think I joined shooting club when I was 13, 14.
Okay, so this is, would that be middle school or high school?
No, it was probably. You see, we don't have middle school.
Oh, okay. So you go directly from.
School is the last 2 years, basically. And you have a elementary school, the 1st to 3rd grade. From 3rd grade to 8th grade is whatever you call middle school. And from 8th grade to 10th grade, this is high school. That's only what division we had. So I went there when I was like around 13, 14, which is probably 7th grade. Also, and I was doing that until my draft in the army, which I was 18. So
now it's also different depending on. My kids go to Catholic private school, and depending on which school you're into, they go all the way from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. So the middle school is really just an extension of the elementary school. Whereas when I went to public school in Southern California, there was a separate school. You actually, had to, once you ended your elementary school, you physically went to a different school campus for middle school, and then also a different one again for high school.
No, most of the Soviet kids did not. Most of the Soviet kids, you would go to the same school from 1st to last grade, unless your family moved. Unless maybe your parents decided that they want to specialize in certain things, like a science or language or something else, and they bring you to other schools. Usually you were assigned to the district, and the district has usually just 1 or 2 schools. Again, remind you, I'm from very middle-sized town, so our district is fairly small. So you're mostly assigned to the school, unless you're really passionate into something and you want to go to different school. For example, as a foreign language, your parents want you to learn German. German is very not popular. Only like a couple schools in the town would teach you German.
Well, considering the history of things, I can understand why.
It's not as it seems to be. Not that's bad.
Okay.
German language is very huge in math. If you're thinking about studying math really, really deeply, it's not a bad thing to be able to read German, because a lot of work in math published in German language.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or you want to be translator or something else. My school were a sport-oriented school, so but also in my district. What's happened though, my teacher of the elementary school was very well known, and very few highly accoladed teachers in city. So to get in her class, that was a goal of many parents. So I had a small, very, very unusual, had a small interview before I went to first grade, and they accepted the class.
Okay, in first grade.
Yes, it was very, very, very unusual. So we had the kids who belonged to the district. They usually went to in Russia, it's usually letters for the class, A, B, and C. We have each grade has A class, B class, C class. Not because of bad or worse, because just to
divide them up.
Just to divide. Okay. But what's happened though, that traditionally in my school, A was privileged kids or who would pass interview. B was kids who kind of lived around area. And C was a sport.
Oh, okay. Now, so, for the A students, are those people who whose parents are either high up in the city government or something, or anything like that?
Not necessarily. It was not that prevalent. No, although we have quite a few kids with a parents' background, kind of including me too. But
what did your parents do, by the way?
My parents was not any kind of in a high position. My grandfather was in a very high position in the city. He was not involved in this particular matter because it was no need, because I was in the district of the school. So they just talked to me. They saw that I already kind of possessed the knowledge for the first grade, and so I kind of easily passed that through. But we had people from a city council or some kind of factory hierarchy, bosses or something, or doctors. It was not that kind of complicated to get there. It was just a slight selection between two grades.
Now, we're talking a little bit about this before the show started, and I'd like to, if anybody else, we're getting near the end of our hour. So if anybody has any questions about growing up in the Soviet Union or serving in the Soviet Army, please post it on the side chat. But I wanted to follow up on what we were discussing earlier. When you're talking about selection, who makes that selection as to what your path or what occupation or which college or you'd be going to?
All the selection done by yourself and your parents.
Good.
Education in the Soviet Union was very strict, but at the same time very forward-looking in the matter of common goods. Remember, Soviet Union, it's everything about common goods. It's a little bit less how in America we aim to individual prosperity, individual achievements. It's more about common goods. When the 1920s was an issue that we don't have engineers in Soviet Union, by decree of government, it was a lot of universities open up with the engineering major, and a lot of people was promoted to go to university study engineering. That's how 1930s become very advanced for Soviet Union because of that. It's always planned economy, has a positive and a negative, obviously. Education, it's always positive when you thinking decades ahead. What's going to happen to the next generation of people who goes to university? The same with my time. When I applied for universities, it was obviously certain more privileged position than not. Like I was applied for law school, and it was hard to get into law school. So every university has an entrance exam. It's always helped if you know somebody, but if you nobody, you cannot pass exam, it's not going to help you by much.
Yeah, well, that's the case here. I mean, if you happen to know the dean, if your parents know the dean of the law school, they're gonna, give you a little bit extra leeway to get in, right?
Yes, and also, Communist Party played the role of steering education towards certain things. If they decided that we do need the doctors, they would promote people to go into doctorate and become a doctors. If they think that engineering is very important, they're going to promote this. So, which is pluses and minuses to all. It's worked for some and absolutely did not work for others. Thinking about planned economy, that's what drive most of the Soviet Union's achievements, and it's brought to demise because sometimes your plans dictate your success.
Yeah, the famous 5-year plans, right?
Famous 5 years plans, but that's how the thought was we're 100 years behind the rest of the world. We need to catch up in 10 years. That's how they've done it. And because of that, the World War II, we all speak our language is not German. So however you dice the slices, winning against Nazis, this was one of the fundamentals victories. That as much as Soviet Union was not prepared for World War II, this part was already start to work, producing people who need for country to achieve certain things. Once again, my childhood was pretty happy childhood, even though when I was growing up, I always wondered why Americans not coming to Soviet Unions because it's so bad over there. Slavery and the black people being, not treated well. And here I have a happy childhood. I have everything what I need. I have a pioneer camps. I had a food. I have entertainment. We had a free travels and everything as a kids. Why American people not coming to us? It was puzzled me for a very long time. But, that's propaganda.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely, and it worked both ways. You're growing up here watching news footage of the Soviet Union of like, oh, it's terrible. Everybody has to wait in these mile-long lines to get maybe a piece of bread.
One of the things what I always remember when I came to the United States, I was 25 already, kind of sort of adult, and I went to the stores with all the famous, you can choose anything you want. And I saw people cannot choose. I understand you're happy when you have not one coffee, but 3 coffee or 5 coffee. And you have to choose between them. But when you have a 25, but zero information, what the difference between all of them, like what's the point of it? So sometimes too much of good things, maybe not a good thing.
It's option paralysis. So I got a question from Porsche Speedster here. Did you go to Afghanistan? I think it was already over by the time you were in.
I served the 1 year after they pulled out of Afghanistan. I was really hoping to go to Afghanistan to say per se, but they pulled it up. No.
So in some ways that was a good thing for you, but I'm sure, but everybody who serves wants to serve actively for the most part. So I totally understand that. And Rubear says certain schools would not get, you could not get in unless you are from certain families. I'm sure that was the case. And
all this exception, certain things, absolutely, you need to have some kind of hand pushing you to it. Absolutely, it's true. But again, it's mostly exception rather than rules.
And Tim Mooney says, in 1989, PepsiCo acquired 17 submarines, a cruiser, a frigate, and a destroyer from the Soviet Union. Pepsi briefly possessed the 6th largest fleet. I don't understand why they would get that, but
this is fairy tale. It's not exactly.
Okay.
I heard the story before.
Okay, fair.
89, this is Soviet Union. You cannot get it. After 1990, you have a small window that is possible that something like this, but this is not exactly true.
Okay.
Cola since 1980 in Soviet Union.
So I wanted to, before we go off and actually do our giveaways, I wanted to share some of these pins that you emailed me. Could you tell me what these pins were or are?
For schools, political organizations. The first pin for young Octobrists, so from age 7 to 10, for first to third grade, you become a member of Octobrist Party. Then you go as a young pioneer, the sign in the middle. So that's approximately from 3rd grade to 7th grade.
So the young pioneers, that's like equivalent to the Boy Scouts here, right?
It's like equivalent to the Boy Scout, but it's not private, first of all, and encompass most of the kids. So it's not you pick and choose. It's better to be in, and most of the kids on my age were pioneers. And then in the 7th to 8th grade, you become all to the right Comsomol member. So I were a very active kid, and I was in the school self-governing party of either both pioneers and the Comsomol members. So every school has a governing kind of party of the kids who help to self-organize, and I was a member of both parties. So
well, now did the sort of school government do anything more? Well, in I was part of the high school government, but all we did was plan the parties. That was it. I mean, like the social gatherings, and that was the extent of which.
You're mostly planning events.
Yeah.
Help schools or city with the public services. So, for example, we would go as a pioneers. We would go to elderly families and help to do shopping and cleaning. We would go to memorials and stand guards as for memorial for World War II or some other memorials. So you would collect paper or scrap metal for city to donate. You would go and have a clean day of the park, and a clean park and a communal place.
Oh, that's a lot more involved. I mean, that's actually sounds like you're doing something, as opposed to my school government. All we got to decide was what color was the theme for the spring dance. That was it.
No. It was serious like this. I planned, being a pioneer, I planned schooled military trip exercise in the city, in the park, and helped to execute it. And for that, I was sent to the biggest pioneer camp in country.
Which one was that? Where is that?
It's called, in Belarus, it's called Zubryonok, which is buffalo, little buffalo, because it's also a symbol of Belarus. It was a camp, year-round camp near to Minsk, capital of Belarus.
Okay.
I spent winter semester study there, living there, as a prize for executing such a wonderful game, what school decided. But no, it's much more involved than here in the United States. But again, because government sent it us to do these things, which not everybody enjoyed it. I'm not going to say everybody enjoyed it, but yes.
So Rubear is posting out things. I don't know if Rubear grew up in Russia or not, but it sounds like he knows a bit more.
He's from Florida, but he's a Russian.
Okay. So that's great to know. There's so much. Okay, we've only sort of scratched the surface here, but I'm mindful of our time. So let's circle back and talk some more about this, because we haven't even gotten into your military career, or So I would love to get into that at another episode. If you have some time, maybe next month or the month after that. But I wanted to ask for your help in the giveaways that we're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, so one other, I actually skipped one of the brand clues, but I think we've mentioned a little bit of, we gave a brand clue in the comment section here, but here's the last brand clue. This beverage was created in 1893, along with arch rival Coke. It dominates the worldwide soft drink market, so that should be fairly obvious to folks which brand we're talking about here. And the reason why I picked this brand was it was actually the first Western brand to be officially sanctioned to be brought into the Soviet Union back in, I believe, 1974. It could have been 1972. I saw different dates for that. So did you and without naming this, did you get a chance to drink this when you were growing up?
Yes, but mostly in Moscow. We did not have in my town, but we did have those little kiosks in the streets of Moscow, and it was a big treat to go and get this drink. Absolutely.
Okay, so if you know the answer to this mystery brand, put a hashtag and the name of this soft drink brand in the side chat, and you'll be eligible to win one of these ZKT gun wipes. And should you win, Yeah, you must email me at moondogairsoft@gmail.com after the drawing. And let me just post this up in the side chat for those of you just as a convenience. But make sure that you email me with the hashtag and the name of the brand, which is in the subject line, so that I can find that. Rubear says it was 72. So there we go. So this soft drink brand was available in the Soviet Union as early as 1972. So also wanted to give a plug out to Operation Bad Blood, which is the charity airsoft event that I organize every year. And it's going to be at the end of this month on June 28th over in New Milford, Pennsylvania. And Sasha was actually you were on the tribals for quite a number of years.
Yes, we were tribals. That was my thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're going to get a chance to come out if your work schedule, but you're always welcome to join us again this year. This year, Ian will be running the game. And I'll be there, but I've tasked Ian Sonic to be in charge of the game this year. So you're always welcome to come out. And that's going to be in New Milford, Pennsylvania, which is eastern Pennsylvania, just north of Scranton. It's a great event. We've gotten as many as 1,000 players. This year is probably going to be closer to 500 players, but still a very large airsoft event and a fun time for everyone. Tickets are available at evic.com. That's the only place you can get it. So enter the contest. And one of the great things about Bad Blood is the amount of everybody who gets a ticket gets a raffle ticket as well. And you can tell them how much stuff that we give away at the end of the event is just epic, right?
Absolutely. It was one of the best events all the way around.
Yeah, it's at least half an hour, sometimes even longer, just giving away prizes at the end of the game. So that's how many prizes we have. So, like 50 different AEGs and things that EVIC gives away. So it's really worth it.
Yeah, they're good guys. Thanks to eBike. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, and also wanted to remind everybody that this month I'm giving away this rangefinder, and you can enter the contest. I'll post up the link to that again here. So that's what we'll be giving that away at the end of this month. So enter the contest, which is going on right now. And right now we are going to be doing the drawing for this Easy Shoot LPVO. And I'm going to bring up, remove, and there we go. So I'm going to ask you to give me a countdown and I will click the button. These are all the folks who uploaded a screenshot of that they've subscribed to Moondog Go, and they were entered into the contest last month. So just give me a quick countdown, Sasha, and I will press the button.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, click.
There we go. Sean Johnson, congratulations. You are the winner of the Easy Shoot LPVO. Oh, let me take a screenshot of this. I don't know. It left our screen here, but I do have you listed down as the winner. So we'll do the same thing at the end of this month to win that Milesy. So thanks again, and congratulations to Sean Johnson. All right. So for our contest for the ZKT wipes, I'm going to bring onto the stage the giveaway screen. Let me present that. And if you haven't already, put in your hashtag and the name of the mystery soft drink brand on the side there. And let me see here. Stop screen and present screen. And that'll be the giveaway tool. So the mystery brand is Pepsi. So hopefully you put that into the side chat. Actually, Jason, make sure that you do the hashtag without a space and just the name of the company there. So I just noticed that you put in PepsiCo, but it won't register you unless you put in hashtag without a space, the name, the Pepsi. So I would do it right now while you still have, I'll give you like 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jason, I hope you're watching this and can type that in. All right. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, Sasha. Just we're going to do it 3 times. Just give me a countdown, and I will hit the button to draw the winner.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click.
All right. The first winner to get the ZKT wipes is going to be Porsche Speedster.
Ooh,
He's been a multiple winner over the last couple of weeks. So good
name.
Great luck. Yeah. All right. Okay. So our second wipe goes to, give me a countdown, Sasha.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click.
Roy Munson. Very good. Congratulations, Roy.
Roy.
And the last wipe is we'll just draw for the last one.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Send.
All right. And the final winner for the ZKT wipe is going to go to Hillbilly.
Billy.
Good on you. So
That's
everybody except for Hillbilly, just because I'm going to give him he's thanks to Hillbilly for setting up the live stream. Everybody else, please be sure to put in hashtag Pepsi in your emails to me to give me your name, address to send out the ZKT wipe, and I will post up my email again in the side chat. All right, and for everybody, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button here. And of course, in most of my contests is going to be subscribing to my Moondog Go channel, which is my travel channel. And be sure to tune in next week. We're going to be having a return guest. It's going to be Gizzard Gary, and we're going to be talking about genealogy, which is one of the interests that he has. He's an amateur genealogist, talking about your family tree. So that should be very interesting. I'm sure you know your family and your grandparents very well, Sasha. I have got to sit down with my mother and get more details. A lot of we're talking a little bit about the war, a little bit about history. Apparently, all of the municipal records that were in my mother's town were burned. I don't know, by the Japanese or to keep the Japanese from getting a hold of them. One of those. I don't know the exact story about that, but so I've lost a lot of the exact details, like the names of from my mother's side of grandparents and everything. But that'll happen in war, right? So anyway, I would like to thank Sasha, Alex Sosnovski for joining us, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Sasha, I hope you can join us in about a month or so.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. And if you have guys any question, just please post it up. We're going to try to answer it.
Absolutely. And I hope you're feeling better, and hope you get home soon, but enjoy the California sun while you're here.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay. Much love to you and the family, and as a new father, congratulations again.
Thank you.
And again, everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'll hopefully see you next week at same time, same channel. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.